I'd like to thank Lewis and Deborah and them. I started this journey 5 months ago. I believe I already knew Lewis from jury duty, but this party was very welcoming to me. When I walked in the door, I met Fred. I would be honored to serve in your party. And as your clerk of court, I'm going to begin with telling you about myself and my family. I'm married to Melba Scoggins, who is a fireman with the city of Cartersville, and that's where he is today. We also own and operate a cabinet shop up in Pine Law. We have 2 beautiful daughters, Morgan and Mallory. But I began working at the courthouse in 1981, 30 years ago. I was recently honored for 30 years of service with Bartow County. I started college. I went to Fairmount High School, so if you've ever went through to go to LJ, you go right through the little town of Fairmount, and that's where I was raised, and that's where my mama still lives. But I started college when I was a junior. I was going to finish school early and just bum out my senior year until my parents said, no, you go ahead and start college. Well, I did that. But during that time, my mama had a serious accident. This little girl had to help the family. I was blessed to find a job at the courthouse. And that's where I have met my court family, and that's where I have remained for the last 27 years. I have served as your jury clerk and over the criminal department. But what I'm most amazed about in this journey, going out, meeting folks, is that the clerk is accountable to the people of Bartow County, along with your tax assessors. Everybody knows who the tax assessors are. They dread writing that nasty check to them. Everyone makes a point to know who our sheriff is and what crimes happen in our community. We all know our sole commissioner. We love him, adore him, and there are many people trying to fill his shoes right now. What I have found is most people don't know who the clerk is or the duties of the court. The clerk is in charge of the clerical part of the court's records. We are the organizer of the records. Records date back to the 1800s there. There are records where Sherman came through and slashed. We've donated some of those to our Etowah Historical Society. But it's the job of the clerk to preserve those records from our past and our future. One of my favorite parts has been I've been your jury clerk. I have worked in thousands of cases I've sat through. The clerk is required, or a deputy clerk, as I was, to be in court proceeding. To operate a courtroom, you have to have a judge, a deputy, and a clerk. And most of you know there's a court reporter in there taking down things, but she's not required by law. By law, a clerk should be there. I have organized the jury in 20 murder cases in the past 2 decades. I have worked on 4 death penalty trials for Bartow County, Lafayette, and Gordon. Our judges have barred me out because death penalty cases are a little bit different. When you come in, we give you a wonderful welcome and then send you home to pack your bags to come sit with us. So it's a little bit different. I want you to know that I will not be just an administrator. I will be a hands-on clerk serving you day by day, working side by side with the employees. If the employees are furloughed, this little lady will be furloughed. If the employees don't get raises, I won't accept raises. The door to the clerk's office will be open at all times. I have worked for 3 clerks. I have had the endorsement of Miss Tish Johnson. She is a role model to me. I worked for her for a number of years. But I started with Mr. Bud Jefferson gave me my job. And then I worked for Tish Johnson and our current clerk. I believe I have witnessed the management skills of all those clerks. I believe that I have the skills and management necessary to be a leader in that office. I believe to be a leader you must have first served. I would be honored to be your clerk of court. I like being the friendly face of the courthouse when you're going through a trying time like a lawsuit or a joyous occasion when you're adopting a child. I have been that person. I've had a number of people say, Melba, I thought you already was the clerk. I said, no, but my aim is to get there. I believe I have the experience and insight to do the job. I ask for your vote. If you haven't already cast one, next Tuesday, thank you for today, and thank you for welcoming me.
Thank you. Before we take a few questions, I'm going to ask the same question you had asked of Judy. You're running against the incumbent in this race.
Yes, sir.
And so why don't you tell us a little bit about what separates you from your opponent and why the voters should vote for you.
Well, experience would be my number one answer if I had to say something. I worked, as I stated, for 3 clerks, and I think it's like with any job, once you get in office, I have watched different management skills from all 3 clerks. I believe I can be a leader, and I think the office needs some guidance and directions, and I believe I'm that person to do that.
Okay. I know you're feeling under the weather, so we'll try to limit this to just 1 or 2 questions. Anybody have a question for Ms. Scoggins?
Is there a single reason or driving force that makes you want to seek this office?
No, I believe if you had asked me 10 years ago if I would be running for public office, I would have told you you were crazy. I never see myself, but it is the lack of leadership in the current administration that has brought me to where I am today.
Anybody else?
I'd like a couple of questions. I have a notice here from Gary, and I have one from you. And if you could clarify 2 things for me.
Okay.
Okay, you said that you would cut the budget and reduce waste.
Yes, ma'am.
Prior to taking office in 2001, no, just a minute. Well, there's 2 issues on this one. But this one is Bartow County Clerk office is run physically conservative and has come in under budget for the last 12 years. Okay, now how would you cut the budget and how would you reduce waste?
Well, I believe there's certain waste in there. I believe when you set a budget up, you have a goal for that. That doesn't mean you have to spend everything in your budget. You may still come under budget, but waste is when I have worked under numerous administration. I don't think that we need to be like Costco and have Kleenex's boxes from the bottom to the top. I bought my own box of Kleenex. I will not be providing Kleenex boxes to individuals. I will not be placing flashlights on every office. We're there in the daytime. If our power goes off, they're a generator. But to spend money, our current administrator bought flashlights for each section of the office. We have health kits on every desk. That's just a waste to me. We have bought 20,000 packs of Splenda. We're not a coffee shop. We don't need that.
But you still come under budget.
It's still a waste. It's still a waste. If you don't need something at that current time, our purchasing office has had to come borrow paper back from the clerk's office because the supplies are so low there. We've got more products than that. That's not necessary. You know, you can buy in bulk, but our purchasing agency buys in bulks for us, not the clerk's office. All we have to do is call and they ship it to our office. So.
I have a hard time understanding that. One more question. You said you had worked for 3 administrations.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Prior to taking office in 2001, hundreds of thousands of unidentified dollars were left unattended in accounts upon taking office. Mr. Bell researched account histories and found these funds to be unpaid bond and restitution money owed to the citizens of Bartow County. These funds have now been returned to the citizens. If the office was run so efficiently and you was in that office, why didn't you find this out before Mr. Bell got in there and took office?
Well, I have been over the jury and the criminal aspect of it. I've never did a budget. I have never been in bookkeeping. I know how to calculate the funds and I know how to disperse it. I know there's $1 million in the cash bond account that's been there for a number of years that I believe if we could turn over some of that money to the county, the state, whoever, nobody's claimed it. There's unclaimed property everywhere in each company.
But didn't you say you knew every facet of the office?
No, sir, I did not.
You didn't say that?
No, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought
No,
I understood you
I
say
aim
that.
to learn every aspect
Oh,
of the
you aim
office.
to learn it.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I have done many jobs in the office, but I was over the criminal division If you have a criminal question, I'd be glad to address that to you. But I think with anything, you have to learn it. Just like with this campaign, I've learned how to campaign. I've learned to do things I never thought I'd do, and I'm right proud of myself.
And then I want to leave one other thing with you. Under Bell's leadership, Bartow County was one of the first clerk's office in the state of Georgia to electronically preserve all deeds and plats dating back to the early 1800s. Is that correct?
It is correct. Just like
That's all
in well, I'm going to respond. In 1993, the Clerk's Authority took over our county. They took over 159 counties in our state. The Clerk's Authority is the person who initiated computerizing deeds, property. They took over our office. So Mr. Bell doesn't get all the credit for that. It's like with any technology. 20 years ago, we wasn't using computers. We all are now. We're all using smartphones now. 20 years ago, that wasn't happening. It's the age. Technology is the age of the future.